Hi, my name's Bill Barnett, and I'm the Managing Director of C9 Hotelworks. Today I'm here to talk about Mira Valley, a preview, which is kind of a forward look of the new Phuket and the move inland. This is a very interesting project because we're a close observer of Phuket over the past 20 years, and we've seen the island change. And something that we understand is that this is an urbanizing destination. What's very important is our experience, we work all across Southeast Asia, is that locations change in every marketplace. And infrastructure is often a key catalyst to change. If we go back to Bangkok and we look over the past 30 years, a key changer in Bangkok was the BTS, the SkyTrain. That actually shifted tourism off the river. It moved it up to Sukhumvit. It was a game changer, not only for tourism, but also for real estate, for retail, for commercial as well. So many times we have to look at what's going to change a marketplace. It's not just demand for customers. It's looking where land is available and also looking where the infrastructure. When we look at some key infrastructure projects in Phuket, we're looking at kind of a basket of projects right now. We've got the new Andaman Airport, which is just over the bridge in Koh Pillai. This is a project which is already, the land is reserved, and it is taking a long-term view of not only Phuket, but the greater Phuket area as well. So that, again, that's going to be a longer-term project, but it's also going to feed into this infrastructure story. We also have an expressway, which is running from north to south as well, which will go from the airport all the way down to Phuket town. This is along the middle corridor of the island. For those of you who don't really know Phuket well, Phuket, while it's an island about the size of Singapore, it really has a main artery through the middle of the island, which is Tep Kasatri Road. This runs north to south. There's also a side road on the east coast, which is currently 4 lanes from the Heron's Monument up to nearly the interchange near the Blue Canyon. But this eventually is going to be connecting. So when we look at what the future of Phuket is, it's going to be really inland property right down the middle of the island. It's very difficult on the west coast, even though this is a tourism zone. Bang Tao, Kamala, Patong, these are heavily populated areas, but it's impossible to change infrastructure in these areas. So in terms of taking a growth profile of the future of Phuket, we think it's going to be in the middle of the island. And that certainly is a game changer. Let's talk about tourism as well. And we know that tourism is an important part of the Phuket economy. People always throw around numbers saying it's tourism dependent. It's not tourism dependent, but it is very tourism centric in terms of how many tourists are visiting. If we go back to 2018, 2019, about 9.5 million passengers arrived at Phuket International Airport. This is probably the best indication of how many travelers or how many tourists visited the island. Now, when we look back at the COVID, certainly we saw it coming through that period. But one important fact to remember is that Phuket actually led the opening of Thailand with the Phuket Sandbox. Phuket was opened actually for tourism, but also for international passenger arrivals from overseas before Bangkok was. This was a catalyst of change for the entire country. And in terms of tourism destinations, it was a leader of all tourism destinations in Southeast Asia with the Phuket Sandbox. Looking at last year, there were about 7.2 million arrivals at Phuket International Airport. So we're well on the way to recovery. We're back to where things were starting probably in 2024. We'll be back to where trading figures were for 2019. So there is recovery in the marketplace, but where do we go from here? I think certainly is when we're looking at the expressway and we're looking at other things as well. The Thai government, which is in place right now, is very proactive in terms of looking at PPP, public-private partnerships. These will be build, operate, transfer projects where we have private parties execute them. Mega projects across Thailand are very difficult for the government to fully implement, and they're taking a view to bring private sector partners in for these projects. There's feasibility studies being done for the expressway, for the other infrastructure as well, such as the Andaman Airport, the Patong Tunnel. There's processes going forward. We think this is a very positive indicator for infrastructure and development, which really hasn't happened in Phuket for the past 10, 20 years. The highway network will really dictate where things are going in the future of Phuket. And the reality is this is an urbanizing landscape. If you look at real estate value and where projects are developing, go to Bangkok and look out to the BTS, where the projects along the BTS have greater value. You'll see more commercial development. And there's this 15-minute rule saying you want to live and work and stay and play within 15 minutes where you live when you're in an urbanizing area. Much can be said that for Phuket as well. Key demand generators. Phuket is not a one-trick pony in terms of key demand generators. There's a lot of other things happening here. International schools. There's 13 international schools on the island right now. This number will probably double over the next decade. What's key about this for the real estate market is that For international schools, parents are able to get visas which go along with their students as well. So they're able to come and buy real estate. We see in British International School, our research points out there's 55 nationalities in British International School with students, almost 1,000. That's an incredible figure. It's not a one-trick pony in terms of just one base business as well. The geography is spread across the world and global citizens. I think that's a really important factor. Marinas, again, that's a key indicator for luxury real estate on the island as well. Super yachts. Phuket has the greatest number of super yachts, the greatest infrastructure for resort marinas in Asia. It's the leader there. And there's 5 marinas. There's another marina coming with the 115 degrees coming from Singapore. So it's going to continue to bolster that. There's also a lot of other services for marinas, which include hard stands, maintenance, yacht charters as well. So it's a whole industry, and that's an important part of the Phuket economy. Retail, again, Central has been a major mover, and they continue to move across the island. If we look at the Heron's Monument, which is not far from the Mira Valley site, there's a Robinson's, and the Central Group, CPN, has been a heavy investor into Phuket and looking about these things, not just one central retail district, but creating them into micro neighborhoods. And Mira Valley is going to be another major micro neighborhood at the Heron's Monument. Transportation link, also for retail and international schools as well. And let's talk about the branded residence as well. Real estate is an important part of Phuket as well. There's about $2.6 billion of branded residences coming into the marketplace. This means that Phuket's not just dependent upon tourism, but it has a very sophisticated footprint in terms of how people are coming to live here as well. Global migration. If we look at the growth of the real estate market after COVID in going through 2022, 2023, 2024, we've seen a huge income of people coming in from Hong Kong, from Singapore, also from North America as well, and wanting to take a Phuket lifestyle. Lifestyle has become important and space is important. These are key demand generators. Geopolitical purposes, we're talking about certainly the Russian-Ukraine conflict has spurred more real estate on the island, but it's not just one source market. We are seeing more people move globally to other parts of the world, and Thailand's government initiatives like Thailand Elite, retirement visas, and other mechanisms, highly skilled workers for digital nomads, these are great incentives as well. When we look at Mira Valley, I think the prospects are pretty important to create a real new lifestyle community in Phuket. This is the center of the island, it's the heart of the island as well, and infrastructure is going to dictate that this is a great location for real estate values in the decades above. Thank you very much. My name is Bill Barnett from C9 Hotelworks. See you at Mira Valley.